The way this game ends last night, so for people out there that probably had the Bills covering the bet last night, so the Bills were favored, by 10 and a half?
Yeah, which is crazy because of the way they've been playing. But yes, by 10.
Right, but they're up 24-10 late in this game.
Yeah.
And they are dominating the game. And the Bucs get the ball for their second to last drive of the game before they throw a Hail Mary. And it's like 17 plays, 60 yards, like 7 minutes or some crazy thing. There were 2 fourth-down penalties that the Bills had on defense, of course. So that keeps it going. And then Mike Evans scores a touchdown on a deflected ball off a helmet. So that keeps it going. And then they have another deflected ball in the 2-point play. So now that keeps them in the game. And I'm like, I thought the Bills would win, but I thought they were going to cover, to be honest with you. So I come in here this morning a little annoyed and aggravated at the way this game ended in the last 3 minutes of it.
Because you lost your pick? Is that why? I mean, or you actually bet the game.
Well, I did bet the game.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but I was just like, this is ridiculous how this crap happens.
Well, this is why.
At the end of games, it's amazing.
Well, that's why those big spreads, man, that's why you got to stay away from them, especially when the Bills have been playing the way they've been playing. Those backdoor covers are a disaster. They're the worst.
It was. And look, I have to say, Josh Allen was Josh Allen again last night, but the Bills just still aren't right. They don't look like the team that went on that 3-game winning streak right after the Jets had beat them opening weekend.
Right.
It's just the defense or something just not right about the team, and I don't know what it is. And then, you wake up this morning and you're thinking, okay, we got Jets, Giants, everything's good, everybody's ready to rock and roll. I don't know who's going to be playing for the Giants. Doesn't sound like Andrew Thomas is going to be playing for the Giants.
Well, he's got a little bit better of a chance than Daniel Jones, but I would be surprised if
either one.
Yes, exactly.
If either one of them out there, right? And then comes this little ditty.
No, little ditties.
Little ditties. You love little ditties. You love distractions, right? If you're a coach, you just got to love distractions. Oh, there's an unhappy Jet player. A player who showed up out of shape. A player who was just so high on coming here and teaming up with Aaron Rodgers and creating an all-pro backfield, and it was going to be awesome. And the Jets brought in this player because they weren't sure what they were going to get initially from Breece Hall. They didn't know that he was coming off of a knee injury. They weren't sure he was going to be ready, because the one thing about coming off of knee injuries, or any injury for that matter, most players are going to be a little tentative at the beginning of coming back, especially in the midst of live fire, if you will, live tackling. And you just always have to cover your bases, cover your ass. And I don't know what Dalvin Cook thought he was coming here for. I don't know if he thought he was going to get the ball 25 times a game. Number one, if you're out of shape, you're not getting the ball 25 times a game. And number two, you're here just in case, as an insurance policy, that something doesn't go right with Breece Hall. And now comes the whole thing about, maybe I should be traded. My name isn't somebody put his name in trade rumors. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know who's going to want him.
Yeah, well, that's the bigger point. I mean, I think why people put his name in trade rumors is because why the hell would you keep him on the roster if he is unhappy with his role and he hasn't done anything in the opportunities that he's been given? Same thing with Carl Lawson. He said similar stuff, maybe not as strong as Dalvin Cook, but around the trade deadline, I think he's another guy who says, I don't have a role on this team any longer. I signed here as a free agent. He had a tough injury a couple of years ago, but he's basically not contributing, and he feels like in a bigger role he could contribute somewhere else.
And I agree kind of with Carl Lawson, but Carl Lawson's name has been bandied about legitimately for at least 3 weeks now. And if he's not seeing the field, then they have great depth at the defensive line position, and they don't want to play a guy that they're not sure about where he's at, and they got to get some of these young guys on the field. I totally understand that. But the Dalvin Cook thing, to me, is like you need as many running backs as you can have. I mean, they got 11 games left. That's a gauntlet, man. That's a gauntlet in the NFL. And you gotta have as many running backs as you possibly can have, because if something does happen to Breece Hall, then what?
Well, exactly. I think that Dalvin Cook, it's frustrating. This sounds like a really selfish move by him. And you think about where the Jets are right now. I mean, they're 3-3. After beating the Eagles and heading into a game where they are favored. And the AFC, as we have talked about, we just talked about how the Buffalo Bills have been disappointing. It feels Like it's wide open in both conferences. And yeah, he's not the number one back like he was with the Minnesota Vikings since he was drafted, but he's here. He can contribute. This team's got something going on. Aaron Rodgers is still around. You signed to be playing with Aaron Rodgers, but he's still around. And do whatever you can to help this team win.
And at the end of the day, too, Breece Hall has definitely earned the majority of the carries, and you can see the way that Breece Hall is playing. And I think the fact that he is playing as well as he's playing shocked everybody over there in Florham Park. I don't think that anybody expected him to come back and be this good this quickly. To come back from that knee injury in that first game against Buffalo and take off. People are like, well, wait a minute, hold on, what is this now? So we do have the real Breece Hall back. So, I mean, Dalvin Cook's like a victim of circumstances. Like Aaron Rodgers is not playing, and Breece Hall is healthier and ready to go quicker than they thought he was going to be.
Yeah, and Dalvin Cook just needs to understand that this is the situation. It's not like the Jets are deliberately holding him out or treating him unfairly. It's just, Aaron Rodgers went down. Okay, so you're not playing with Aaron Rodgers. He signed you to play with Aaron Rodgers. Tough. That happens. It's injuries in the NFL.
How about we go back to when we signed him and how, was it going to be Miami? Was it going to be this team? Was it going to be that team? Nobody really wanted him, and then the Jets ended up signing him for relatively no money.
Sure.
And when he got here, what was he all about? I'll do whatever they ask me. Mm-hmm. I'll do whatever they want me to do. I'll do it. Whatever I need to do to be a part of this team and to help this team win, I'm going to do it. It didn't come with the caveat, I need to get 20 carries a game.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He goes, I come from getting the ball 20 times a game or however many times. Yeah, of course, it's frustrating. But listen, the Minnesota Vikings wouldn't have cut him. He wouldn't have been out there on the free agent market for as long as he was. He wouldn't have gotten the little amount of money that he had if he was still that much of an asset to teams and still that valuable to teams. And honestly, I don't know if there's another situation in the NFL where he would be getting 25 carries a game because he doesn't look the same as he did last year.
No, he looks like he's out of shape. And I would also say, I don't know, maybe he's worked himself into shape or something. I have no idea. But here's what I would say if I were Rob Saleh. Guys, it's 3-3. The league is wide open. We need all hands on deck. Everybody's got to have a role on this team. And your role may not be the role that you thought it was, but at the end of the day, for all of us, we all have to shove our egos in your locker and don't bring them out on the field. And this is why Aaron Rodgers has to be around. He has to be around. He has to be in that locker room. He's got to be in those meeting rooms. He's got to quell crap like this. I mean, they have a chance here to do something because the AFC is open. And if their defense continues to get better, continues to keep getting these turnovers, then I'm telling you, they have a real shot at doing something here. But this kind of crap with the trading deadline coming up and reporters running over to different players and asking them about being traded and all that other stuff creates crap like this that nobody needs.
Yeah, I mean, and Saquon Barkley getting asked about being traded should really annoy him, but he handles it like a pro every single time. And he gets asked it every week. And does he create headlines with it? No. I mean, he gets asked the question, and then he's basically like, hey, Saquon says he wants to retire a Giant, but he understands the business. And that's basically it.
And that's what you should say.
And he's a legit star for the Giants, one of their best players. Now you have Dalvin Cook, who's been here for 5 minutes and hasn't contributed at all, creating negative headlines.
He's contributed. He has contributed.
As compared to Saquon Barkley, what he means to the Giants, Dalvin Cook's nothing.
But I don't know what Dalvin Cook thought when he was coming here. You said that you would do everything that they would ask of you. So they're asking probably a little less than you thought they were going to ask. But you know what? They still need a support person and a support role. I mean, Breece Hall can't be carrying the ball 30 times a game. You got to get your 7 to 8 carries.
Yeah.
Maybe now here's the other problem. The offense isn't great because the quarterback hamstrings the offense. So you don't have a lot of first downs. You don't have a lot of reoccurring long drives with a lot of plays. So therefore, the limited amount of plays that they're getting or opportunities they're getting, they're going to have Breece Hall out there as opposed to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And Jet fans want Breece Hall out there.
Well,
but, Dalvin Cook and whoever else should be third down backs out of the backfield, make a play here, maybe be on special teams, make a tackle, have a return or something like that. But they're not going to use him for that either, because I don't think that's where his mindset is. But he still sees himself as the number one back, and I can appreciate that. But I also know nobody else wanted him when the Jets signed him.
Yeah, and I know that Rob Saleh's approach as a coach is being the player's coach and making sure that he does whatever to get these guys their contracts, and that's how he motivates them and he lets these guys be themselves. But there's too many of these individual complaint situations that have gone on during his tenure. There's just too much of it, and I don't know if he addresses it enough. I don't know if he even brings it up. But, I mean, whether it's social media, passive-aggressive or straight-up aggressive, or things like this, it just happens too much. I mean, it does it. And I understand these guys were away from the team for a few days because of the bye week. But, I mean, is that hard to be like, hey, listen, there's going to be reporters asking about the trade deadline. Let's not cause some headlines here. Let's try to figure this out. Whatever. Let's be a professional. We're on our way to maybe doing something special this year, and let's not screw it up.
I also think the one defense that I will give Dalvin is that, he's watching his brother playing for the Bills. I'm sure there are people in his life that are asking him, how come you're not getting more carries? How come you're not getting this? How come you're not getting that? It's hard to admit that the guy in front of you is better, faster, more explosive, and is really at the beginning of his career, and he has something special going on. Just like when Dalvin got to Minnesota initially. He had something special going on. They saw a great young running back, and they were like, man, this guy's going to be something special. And they used him. And now, because of whatever the reason is, whether it be off the field reasons or on the field reasons, nobody really was knocking his door down to sign him. And then when the Jets finally did sign him, it was not for a lot of money. And his commentary back then, if you look back at the comments when he was signing with the Jets, and this is obviously when Aaron Rodgers was healthy, and plus he got the bulk of the carries week one against the Buffalo Bills.
That's right.
Everything was fine. And then when Breece Hall came back and they saw that Breece Hall was going to be able to run effectively after that knee injury and not protect himself in terms of, running with the knee injury and just letting it loose, which is probably something nobody thought was coming this quickly. You got to be a realist and say Breece Hall's the man. He is the man. He's the guy that's got the energy. He's the one that's got the explosive. He's the guy that you want on the field.
Yeah, I mean, and also it's not like Dalvin Cook's getting zero opportunities, and make the most out of your opportunities, and maybe you get the ball more. I mean, it's not that hard. I don't know if Joe Douglas is going to look at these guys and what they said yesterday and say, we can't have this, and it really doesn't matter if we have Dalvin Cook on this team or not, and I'm going to try to trade him, or Carl Lawson, we didn't work out the way we wanted it to because of his injury. We're going to try to trade him, but
they also drafted young defensive linemen since they signed him. So I kind of get his deal a little bit more, and he's been somewhat quiet about it, but he has been all over, so not him personally, but his name has been all over social media in terms as a prime trade target.
Yeah, and as you said it before, though, I don't know if there's anybody, unless there's going to be some sort of devastating injury, that's going to want to trade anything for Dalvin Cook at this point. I mean, no one wanted to sign him other than the Jets and the Dolphins, and the Dolphins backed off, and the Jets were the last ones there. Think someone's going to give up an asset for him now? When you didn't even need to give up anything as far as draft choices, all you had to do was sign him, and barely the Jets were the only ones standing with that.
I think we have 7 or 8 guys already traded prior to this trading deadline, which is in 4 days now. And so that will give every team an opportunity to see where they are come Sunday, except for the teams that are playing on Monday night. And they'll take stock of where they are, the players that are on expiring contracts, and what the opportunity is like. You just saw Philadelphia sign Kevin Byard, or trade for Kevin Byard, the safety from the Titans. They had safety problems. What do? They go out and they make a trade for a 2-time All-Pro safety, who, Tennessee looks like they're for sale. They got players for sale down there. You got to wonder where DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up, if he ends up somewhere. You would think that some team that is right there in the mix that needs another wide receiver would go out and get him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the trade deadline in the NFL the last couple of years has been real juicy. And for years and years and years, it never was anything. And now you get legit players on the move. And you already saw how aggressive Howie Roseman was, as you said. So this is going to be fascinating to see. I don't think that the Giants are going to do anything crazy. We'll see what the Jets end up doing. And maybe, by the way, maybe these teams add. Who knows? I mean, let's see what happens. Maybe Joe Shane, if the Giants can pull off the upset this weekend, decides, hell, maybe I'll add to this team and see if we could do something. Anything's on the table now with this trade deadline and where it is in the season.
Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.